Welcome to the City Council Workshop for Tuesday, February 18th, 2025. This time we have time set aside for public input. For citizens may address the council regarding any item of city business that is not on tonight's agenda. Come up, give your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Michael Hammer, 508 6th Avenue, Laurel, Montana. Thank you, council members and mayor, for your service. I'm amazed by the complexity of matters coming to you that take serious grappling. Recently, I am appalled while observing the CAO debacle. I never expected small-town Laurel, Montana to enter the big league divisiveness and corruption we see in politics throughout the nation. But that is what I've seen here in the CAO process. I attended 2-4 when a council member showed courage to call out falsehood put forth by our mayor the week before. On review of the YouTube recording, on 128, Vice President Wilkie motioned to table the CAO discussion. A 4-second pause in audio playback follows before the mayor announces it's been moved and seconded. He adds the false assertion it will require a supermajority. 2 other council members go on to express agreement with the motion to table. The second speaker's closing remark is, quote, "I am also in favor of tabling." Let me give you a one-word translation of that statement. Second. Our mayor is heard giving a second acknowledgement that he receives, quote, "motion and a second to table." He takes the vote. It comes in 5-3 to table. The mayor announces the motion does not pass. The voting authorizing the mayor to execute an employment agreement for the position of CAO passes 5-3. So on 2-4, the mayor and attorney are confronted with Robert's Rules of Order stating a motion to lay on the table requires only a majority vote. The member asserts to follow Robert's Rules of Order, our tabling last week actually stands. The city lawyer admits she may have been mistaken, then questions, but is assured there was a majority vote. She openly states, quote, "I will discuss with the executive branch what needs to be done to remedy that." No public follow-up has occurred to let the people of Laurel know what is being done to remedy that. So let me paraphrase what our city lawyer apparently meant. Let me confer with the liar who made the false assertion. He may yet try to force his agenda on the people. Seems the strategy arrived at is to cover up and ignore rather than to remedy. I spent hours reviewing council meetings, Mr. Mayor. I came away impressed with your knowledge and sight into the handling of other complex matters. My impression is you are competent and responsible. Interim CAO Markegard told us he did not agree with your appointing him, but he accepted the role. He later quotes Papa telling him, "Do no harm." Yet he allows himself to be upon in your coercion for the CAO position. As such, he perpetuates great harm by strengthening your corruption and dishonest methods. I've seen council members vote contrary to constituents' urgings and even contrary to their own expressed concerns. I am saddened by the sense that when one man's dishonesty is infecting others. I publicly call you out, Mr. Mayor. Please honestly remedy your wrongful disregard of the vote to disregard moving forward on the CAO matter. It may still be that Markegard becomes CAO properly. His qualifications and dedication to the city give me a sense of confidence. It would be nice to have confidence restored in all parties, council members, attorney, CAO, and especially you, Mr. Mayor, to act with integrity and show respect regardless of differing opinions and views.
Anybody else? The council secretary would like a copy of your notes, please, or your note for the record. Next, we'll move to general items. We have the appointment of Austin Gearhart to the Laurel Police Department. Chief?
Wow. How about now? Okay. I don't know. Green means go, red means stop. Okay, we're gold. Mr. Mayor, members, council, thank you. Very happy to finally be here. We have a very distinct possibility to be finally fully staffed and filling that 15th position you gave us like a year and a half ago. In the letter, the recommendation letter I sent to the mayor, It states in August 2024, Laurel Police Department began a hiring cycle to fill the vacant 15th officer position. We received no internal bids and proceeded with the public notification. We received a total of just 16 applicants, of which 3 qualified or continued to interviews. All 3 applicants moved on to backgrounds and successfully completed their background investigations to form a hiring pool. Police Commission reviewed the 3 applicants and agreed that all 3 applicants met the statutory requirements for a police officer. Of those, candidate Austin Gerhart was our top candidate. Austin has committed himself to a career in public service. He obtained his BA of Science Criminal Justice in May of 2020. And he currently serves honorably with the Hardin Police Department, which he's done so since May of 2022. Austin's very enthusiastic to serve the citizens of Laurel. He brings experience and professionalism to the department. So given the above considerations, my recommendation that Austin Gerhart be appointed as a Laurel police officer. Yes, we're planning on, we got the judge lined up and everything, so we should be good to go with initial start date of March 3rd. So usually wait till I'm halfway there. It's kind of what we do, isn't it?
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify, this will make you fully staffed or it's still an almost?
We will be.
This will be.
Yeah, I have no idea what tomorrow brings, but
I hear you.
that's why I get so cautious, but yes, we should be March 3rd.
Thank you. This individual, young Gerhart, has he already been through the academy?
Yep. Yep.
So there's no hiring him and then send him off someplace so we don't have him for 6 months, right?
No, he doesn't have to, he's already gone through basic. I wish I could tell you which of our officers he went through with. But I can't recall off the top of my head, but yeah, I know him and spoke to him as well.
Follow up. So will you have him paired with an officer here to kind of guide him to?
We still follow our field training
Okay,
procedures. Yeah, we can get into it. There's certain things where with somebody with experience, depending on, like, you can make some minor modifications, but for the most part, for due diligence and follow procedure, you go through a field training. And then with the anticipation that he will be up and running by the summer shift bid.
perfect.
So,
Thank
in
you.
June, so.
Councilmember Mize, did you have something? Okay, Councilmember Canopy.
Thank you. So is it right that Jared has his 10-year pin, but gonna wait till next week or something?
No, I tried to sucker him into doing this. I was gonna have him come up and present Austin, being, assistant chief, and then give him his 10-year pin. But I did give that to him today. And I would like shout out to him that, yes, he's received his 10-year pin, second star. So please do. Please do.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Next, we have the appointment of Gaurav Thakur. I'm glad he's not here tonight. To the Urban Renewal Agency as the advisory for the remainder of a 4-year term ending December 31st, 2027. Is he the gentleman with Beartooth? Okay. 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 Will he be here next week, do you think? Okay. Okay. Under executive review, we have a resolution of the City Council of intent to adopt an official schedule of fees and charges for the city of Laurel and repealing all previous resolutions that set fees or charges that conflict with the schedule attached hereto upon its effective date. Questions? Councilmember Mize?
Thank you. I see under building permit fees that it says we removed the solar permits, and I'm curious if that means we're not allowing people to pursue solar anymore, or we're just not charging for it?
You know,
That has to be inspected by the state.
any other questions? Okay, move to council issues. Councilmember Mize?
Thank you. I want to bring into the public eye tonight some things that have transpired over the last few weeks behind the scenes, i.e. through email, because I believe in transparency and the public's right to be involved in representative government. On January 28th at our council meeting, we were discussing the contract for the appointment of CAO Markey Guard. Mr. Wilkie moved to table and I seconded the motion. The mayor states there's a motion and a second. Then 5 of the 8 council members voted to table, but were told that we have to have a supermajority and therefore the table has failed. The following week, after doing some research, on February 4th, I asked at the council meeting where in the LMNC a supermajority is required, and I was told that this was simply following Robert's Rules of Order. However, Robert's rules simply require a majority vote, and when I asked the city attorney about this, she promised to look into it further. Later that evening, the city council received an email from the city attorney, which I would like to quote in part, but not in whole for interest of time. She said, "I am following up on the issues raised by Councilmember Mize. There is nothing I can say other than I am incredibly sorry, but I made a mistake in advising the mayor that a supermajority was needed to pass the motion to table. Simply put, my advice was not supported by Robert's Rules of Order or the LMC. The motion to table should have been considered on a majority vote basis. Therefore, since 5 city council members voted to pass the motion to table, it should have been considered pass. My advice is that the proper way to handle this is to recognize the passage of the motion to table, for us to amend the minutes to reflect that the motion to approve the resolution should not then have been voted on. With a motion to table, the resolution moves to the next scheduled meeting to be voted on. Therefore, it is my opinion that the resolution is due to be voted on next Tuesday, and all city council members should be permitted to recast whatever vote they determine appropriate on the resolution at the upcoming meeting. That is what I am advising the mayor, Kurt, and all of city council. Please let me know if you have any objection to the suggested approach." End quote. I know that 3 members of the city council responded to that email with expressing objection and asking that instead it be put forth to be voted on the 11th. Instead of being voted on the 11th, that we put it on the council workshop for the 18th, would have been tonight, so we could continue to get new information to help us with that vote. And I made some suggestions to what I would like future information to include. Last week, when the CAO was not on our agenda, I thought this meant our concerns had been heard and we would get a chance to revisit the issue tonight on the record for the public. Unfortunately, this is not the case. On the morning of February 12th, when I logged into my council email to work on a tree planting grant, I was very discouraged to see another email from the attorney. It said, and I quote, "Following up on issues raised last week at the city council meeting regarding the motion to table and the email communications between city council members since then. I am providing you with the present status of the CAO appointment issues. What came to our attention in the review of everything was that the motion to table was not seconded by any city council members. The motion was made and city council then moved straight into voting on the motion to table. This was a substantive procedural error. All city council motions require a second before they can be voted on. Since the motion to table was not seconded, it died at that moment, and any vote thereafter is null and void from a legal standpoint. Thereafter, then consideration goes back to the original motion, the motion to approve the the CAO appointment. That motion on the 28th was voted on and passed. Therefore, the legal effect is that the resolution put in front of city council was approved at that time. City staff and I are all in agreement that this is the practical outcome of how the meeting unfolded, and that the passage of the resolution to approve the CAO appointment stands, end quote. So we are to understand that even though 5 members of City Council voted to table this item, that none of them seconded the motion. We are further to believe that the attorney, the clerk, the interim CAO, the mayor, the assistant to the mayor, and the 8 members of council all missed that fact when we have often caught this kind of problem in the past. It seems more probable to me that the motion was seconded, but that a microphone was not utilized or that there were some technical difficulties. In fact, I am confident that I seconded the motion. What I cannot remember is if I pushed my microphone button. I confess I am not always diligent about doing that, and I am sorry. But you can hear the mayor clearly state it has been moved and seconded. I want to make it clear technical difficulties are often a problem in council meetings. We've had many times when the live stream has not worked. We have other meetings that come in and out. On 12/23, fellow councilman Tom Canopy begins to make a motion which you cannot hear. You can hear a second, and the mayor say it has been motioned and seconded, but should we assume that he does not get to count his motion because the recording did not pick it up? During special council meeting 12/17/24, all audio cuts out between minutes 15:25 and 15:59. Should we assume all actions taken during this time are nullified? On 12/10/24, the motion to approve the minutes, you cannot hear a second. On 12/10/2024, there's a vote on the partnership with RC&D. You can hear 4 in favor say aye, but you don't hear anyone say no. However, the mayor says it is voted 4-1 and it does not pass. Should we go back and change this action, or can we trust that the mayor's correct when he says he heard a no vote? That same night, a motion is made for resolution R2498 to adjust the compensation for the volunteer ambulance. You cannot hear a second, presumably because a microphone is not utilized. You can hear the mayor say it has been moved and seconded. Should we go back and assume that this is a mistake and remove their pay increase? And those are just the meetings in December. So either we can trust the mayor when he says it has been moved and seconded, or we can choose to trust the recordings that sometimes do not pick up on our every word. I would rather trust the mayor, the chair, the others on the bench and in the room. I would rather admit technical difficulties happen, but they don't stand in the way of due process. We can't have it both ways, picking and choosing when the technical issues support our position. I am willing to admit that there is a chance this item could be returned to the table, more information given to the council, and in the end, the outcome might be the same with the appointment of a CAO. So why bother? Because I believe the process matters. I believe honoring Robert's Rules of Order and the Laurel Municipal Code matters. Showing respect to other co-equal branches of government matters. Being open and transparent for the public who have been watching the process matters. It matters that we are consistent and follows up with the process so that we don't end up with future legal issues. It matters because this is how we earn and keep the trust of the citizens. And it matters because respect between branches of government allows us to work together for the flourishing of our community. So I urge you tonight to return Resolution R25-13, a resolution authorizing the employment agreement for the position of Chief Administrative Officer to the City Council agenda on March 4th, 2025, so we can do it right. Thank you.
Councilmember McKay.
Thank you. I do want to echo Councilmember Mize's concerns, and I appreciate the research that you put into that. I also find it highly unlikely that this entire body would have moved ahead without a second, let alone the entire bench, Brittany in particular, because she catches us on multiple occasions when we don't follow the rules or correctly, follow the procedure. And I really feel that this mistake should not fall on the council, and that really the result of their wishes are not being heard. And I would like to see it returned and put back on workshop and continued to be discussed because it was clear that a majority of this body wanted to table it for more information. Thank you for all that research you put in.
Councilmember Closey?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When we follow Robert's Rules of Order and we make a motion to table something, the motion that was made that evening was not complete because when you make a motion to table a item, you have to set a date or a time to when that item can be brought back. So that whole motion was incomplete and should not even been voted on.
Councilmember Sparks? Council President, sorry.
No worries. Thank you. I would like to echo what Councilmember Mize and Councilmember McKay have stated. I agree that this entire room did not miss that there was no second and proceeded without it. Regardless of what's picked up on the audio, we've had lots of technical issues since moving to the microphones and whatnot. We're on YouTube because of technical difficulties with our live feed. So I agree that the motion should have passed and been tabled. And I would also agree with it being brought back at our next workshop cycle.
Council Vice President Wilkie?
I guess I will echo the other three council members that this should come back to us. And like Councilmember Mize said, do it right. Thank you.
Anything else? Council President Sparks?
Yeah, I guess I would just add, I think that that's the fair thing for Kurt too, right? Going into this position. I think that he needs to be appointed to that position if that's what happens with the outcome of this, without this hanging over his head and clouding the legitimacy of him being in that role. So.
Thank you. Council Vice President Wilkie?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I totally agree with Councilmember Vice President. Thank you.
Councilmember McKay?
Thank you. I also want to go on record that I agree with Councilmember Sparks.
Okay. Anybody else? Thank you for your input. But I have moved forward with the contract. It's signed. It is a contract, a binding contract that we have with Kurt. It was voted on. It is registered as a contract with Mr. Markegard. So I am moving forward with appointing Mr. Markegard as the CAO, and I will not bring it back to council. Any other items? Councilmember Closey?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Different times we've discussed changing our court to a court of record, and I would like to have that brought to our next work cycle to find out what it would take to change our court to a court of record and what the benefits to that would be. Thank you.
We can check on that. Attendance at the upcoming, oh,
Something else.
Councilmember McKay?
Thank you. I find it a really disturbing abuse of power to ignore what the council has stated. I just want to go on record.
It's not an abuse of
Second.
power. It is I present you with a contract. You don't call staff and tell them
I
what you
think you've
want
made
them
your
to do.
point.
That's
Don't
enough.
point at me.
You cannot tell me when to stop. I run this meeting. Read your Robert's rules, which also states that
Point of order, Mr. Mayor.
denied. You should have called the point of order the night of the mistake. I made a mistake by saying that it needed a majority, supermajority. You should have called the point of order. Without a point of order being called, you cannot go back. Read your Robert's rules. You cannot go back and change anything that was passed, which means that resolution, right or wrong, was passed. You cannot change that. So he was given a contract. So did you get that on the record for both of them? Okay. Anything else? Attendance at the upcoming meeting? Announcements? We're dismissed.